Now to Florida, where authorities say they have solved a 62-year-old murder there. It was in 1961 a businessman was gunned down in his car in North Miami.
They say the person who murdered him was his wife. As Laura Rodriguez reports, investigators say deception and corruption played a role in derailing the investigation.
That's where she turned.
Paul Novak spent the last 9 years trying to find answers in a murder case that went cold. The attorney and volunteer investigator had been actively working on a 1966 kidnapping case when he stumbled upon the unsolved killing of businessman Joseph DiMare.
And it is a crime that could have and should have been solved a long time ago, perhaps even the night of the murder.
DiMare was one of the founders of produce company DiMare Fresh. On March 24, 1961, his body was found in the passenger seat of his Cadillac Fleetwood, a few blocks from his home in the Keystone Islands of North Miami. Joseph's wife, Frances, told police she was in the car with him headed to dinner.
She had claimed that right here at this intersection, two guys jumped into the back seat of their Cadillac and pistol whipped them and forced them to a lot just around the corner here, where she ran to a gas station and then her husband was found dead.
Now, 62 years later, Miami-Dade police and Novak say physical evidence and witness accounts show Frances DiMare killed her husband. The motive? An impending divorce and DiMare's inheritance.
He had already changed his will to say that she would only receive her share if she was living with him as his wife at the time of his death. So she had left and gone back to Ohio. She found out about this will change, so she came back to the Keystone house, and it was at that time he told her that he was going to get a divorce, and if she was divorced, she wouldn't get a share of any estate.
According to Novak, Frances first tried to hire a hitman, but had no luck. Since the clock was ticking, she took matters into her own hands.
Why do you think this case was not solved in 1961 or sooner?
Sometimes these cases get complicated and derailed by a combination of factors that include corruption, that include intentional derailment of the trail.
Novak says many believed Frances was a victim. She died in 2006 and never faced criminal charges.
Frances did inherit some of the estate, and there was a probate battle. I think she sought half and ended up with a third, but she did end up with a substantial amount of money that she would not have had she been in prison for his murder.
Laura Rodriguez reporting. Frances later married the attorney who represented her in probate court. The attorney says DiMare's son is relieved the case is closed. He was frustrated it hadn't been solved after so many years.